When you start Just Dire Things, there's one thing you're going to need to do at the start, and that is going to be making some goo. So the goo will actually make you new resources in Just Dire Things. The first goo you will make is a Primo Gel Goo. There's also a Blaze Bloom Goo, a Void Shimmer Goo, and the Shadow Pulse Goo. So the first goo, which is of course the Primo Gel Goo, you make that with vanilla ingredients. Then you can upgrade it using Nether ingredients to the Blaze Bloom Goo. You can then upgrade that using End ingredients to the Void Shimmer Goo. And then upgrade that one using like Skulk ingredients to get the Shadow Pulse Goo. Now the higher the goo, the higher ones can make all of the same things that the lower tiers can make. And you don't have to keep remaking them. So if you have access to this stuff, I would just make the highest one you can straight away, but you don't need to. So what we do is I'm going to place the goo down, and can you see here that it had some rotten flesh as an icon, and now it's showing sugar. So to activate the goo, you need to feed it by right-clicking it with one of the things that is glowing. So then it's going to actually expand to the blocks next to it. And for the Primo Gel Goo, the two main ones you'll be doing that for is a block of iron and a block of coal. So I could just place a block of iron here, a block of coal here, feed it some sugar, and what you're going to start seeing is that the Primo Gel Goo is going to, can you see already it's starting to expand onto the texture of the iron and also onto the coal. And over every few seconds you could see it's expanding more and more as it converts the coal and the iron into a new resource. Eventually, it will turn it into raw primal coal and raw ferrocore ore. Now, these will work with Fortune, and you can then mine, obviously, these resources to get the new resources of ferrocore and primal coal. The Blaze Bloom Goo, you'll be using primal coal block, so the primal coal that's made here, you can then make it into a block, and then transmute that with Blaze Bloom Goo into raw Blaze Ember, and blocks of gold into raw Blaze Gold ore. Then Blaze Ember blocks, which is this one, the raw Blaze Ember, make that into a block and convert it with Void Shimmer Goo into raw Void Flame Coal. Same with Diamond block into raw Celestigem ore. And lastly, the Shadow Pulse Goo will turn the Void Flame Coal, which you've just made over here, a block of it, into raw Eclipse Ember. And you can also make a block of Netherite into raw Eclipse Alloy ore. It can also turn Amethyst, so this was a budding Amethyst, and you can then turn it into a budding Time Crystal block. And that is all of the goos that you can use in Just Dire Things. Another thing that we can do, just before we move on, so this is Polymorphic Fluid here, and this is kind of what you can use with some of these resources. So you can see here a Polymorphic Catalyst. What you can do is make a Blaze Gold ingot by just smelting up some raw Blaze Gold that you would have made with your goo, and you get some Polymorphic Catalyst when adding that ingot with a Nether Wart. What you can then do is get some water, and then just drop the catalyst into the water, as so, and you get Polymorphic Fluid. What you can then do with Polymorphic Fluid is drop more things into it, Time Crystals, Portal Fluid Catalyst to make it into Unstable Fluid. You can prop in the Blaze Ember to make it into unrefined Blaze Ember Fuel, and then turn the Blaze Ember Fuel into Blaze Ember Fuel by putting it next, the actual liquid next to the goo here, and then this one again can go up by then putting Void Flame Fuel into it to make unrefined one, and then you put that next to the Void Shimmer Goo to make Void Flame Fuel, etc, etc. So there is also liquids that you can make with this kind of process with catalysts and goos. Before we get any further, I want to let you know that I'm partnering up with G-Portal here to give you 10% off your first month with them. They do all sorts of Minecraft servers, whether you want modded, Spigot, Sponge, anything you want, and you can swap out not just Minecraft, but any game on your server at the click of a button with GameCloud. Meaning the possibilities are endless. Again, check out the link in the description so you can get some money off with code Javier. These are simple machines added by Just Dire Things. Generally, to make them, you're going to be using ferrocore ingots, made by mining, of course, raw ferrocore ore that you've made with blocks of iron. So what ones do we have? Well, we've got the simple block placer. If you right click on it, you can see here we can place items in here to be placed by the block placer. Which right way up do you want to place them? How quickly do I want to place them? And should I only do it with redstone or not? And then opposite we have the block breaker, which will break the blocks and leave them, as you can see, lying all over the ground. And if you would like it to sneak click, so it's imitating a sneak click, you can do that here. And it will need a tool like a netherite pickaxe, and it will also actually use durability when it's breaking blocks. The simple clicker, simply it clicks things. So do you want to target air, only hostile mobs, passive mobs, adults, child, player, etc.? You could put a tool in here if you wish, like a wooden sword, or depending on what you need to be clicking. If you're clicking any living things, do you want to target blocks? So it will click whatever's in front of it. Do you want to left click, right click, hold a click as well? And if so, how long do you want to hold that click for? Do you want to sneak click? And do you want to actually show the fake player doing it or not? Again, you can ignore redstone, etc. A simple sensor will emit a redstone signal, depending on if you have a sort of allowed or denied filter in here. You can right click and put that in here. Do you want to target blocks, etc.? A simple dropper will drop items, and you can say how many do you want to drop. You can drop multiple items. There's a pickup delay, etc. The simple swapper. This is, as you can see, bound, so you will need to use a ferrocore wrench for this. Right click it and it says bound to overworld, and then click another simple swapper and it'll either bind or unbind it. Now what this does is, I'm saying target players, it will teleport them to wherever it's bound. So if I stand in front of it, it teleports me to here. And the delay is of course 20 ticks. Simple fluid placer will place fluid that you pump into here with any sort of mod in front of it. A simple fluid collector is basically a pump that will pump up fluid in front of it. Simple coal generator, you just put coal in here and it makes some forge energy. And then the fuel generator, you could put fuel in here. So for example, you could pump in lava. And that is all of the simple machines added by Just Dire Things. There is also advanced versions of a lot of these machines. We have the advanced block breaker, clicker, sensor, etc. And basically when you go into here, they all look the same. You have this big filter list here, so I could filter for blocks of coal maybe. And then what you can also do is, you see this box here, is I can put the offset, for different axes, and increase how big the box is I want to break, etc. And we can, really mess with the area that we want to actually do it with, and it will need energy. The same is going to be with the clicker, the same as with the sensor, the same as with the dropper. You can see they're all pretty much the same. You could just add like the areas you want to do, like in the dropper, it has this big inventory I could fill with things to drop rather than only a one little square. And this render area, that's what is showing you this area here that it's actually doing as well. Things that you could do in here, for example, in the advanced swapper, like you can add an allow list or a deny list. So, I can say only move blocks of coal from one location to the other, or I can deny everything. Sorry, I could let everything through but blocks of coal, for example. So whitelist and blacklist. And I can compare NBT, which is like the tags, like forge ores. So, if I put an iron ore in here, would it allow all forge ores to go through, or would it just be iron ore? And that's what NBT would do there. There's also a lot of other items here and blocks that do not fit in the simple or advanced category. So we have the item collector. In here, you could set, if I just show render area, you can see I've set it to here. I drop a chest and it collects it up and puts it into the chest below, for example. Very simple. Then we have the player accessor. This is really interesting. What you can see here is some different slots for, up, down, left, right. So on the top slot, for example, I could say inventory slots, armor slots, or offhand slots. And that's how it can interact with the player. So if I put a hopper on the top slot, as you can see here, offhand slot is on the up. So anything going into this hopper will basically affect my offhand. Currently, my offhand is empty. If I put this block of gold into the hopper, it appears in my offhand. It's crazy, I know, it's amazing. Then we have the paradox machine. This one is very interesting. Basically, you need to fill it with time, fluid, and energy, and then you can set the radius on it. And then what you do is you take a snapshot of the area. So let's say that there's a chicken here. You fill it up, you press snapshot area, and then you press revert blocks and entities. And basically what it will do is it will actually revert what was there. So if you had a chicken here, and then you snapshot the area, it basically takes it all away, and then you can just revert it, and it'll actually put everything back how it was. But be careful, because you will get a paradox appear if you use it too much. And to stop the paradox, what do you give it? You feed it something, a time crystal. But how do you make a time crystal? Well, I'm going to show you. It's very interesting. So a time crystal is basically made from a time crystal, like a budding time crystal block. And what you'll see here is that it shows you that the budding amethyst with Shadow Pulse Goo makes a budding time crystal block. But what you actually need to do is take it through 3 different dimensions. So as you can see here, it's turned blue. Once it turns colour, it's done in that dimension. You now need to push this through to the nether, wait for it to change colour, and then bring it to the end, and then it will actually be able to start making time crystals. However, you cannot break it and you cannot use Silk Touch. So what you should use, where have they gone, is the simple swappers to swap the block and obviously bind it from one in the overworld and one in the nether, so that you can swap the block to where it would be in the nether, and then do the same with the end, etc. And that's how you would move the budding time crystal block so that it can get all the way to the end. Then we have the inventory holder, very cool. I can say swap items, so it basically gives you 2 whole sets of items. So I've just swapped it all, and it shows you like your little player as well. It's really cool. And I can swap it all back. I can push them all into here. I can pull them all into here. I can say filtered items only. I can compare stack sizes, etc., etc. It's up to you how you use it. Really cool item. The experience holder, I can just add experience into here if I wish, saying owner only, or can everyone use it? There's the energy transmitter that will transmit energy, in a radius around it, sort of thing. And then you'll see these portals here. These are made from the portal gun. These are made with blaze gold ingots. And I can right-click to set the orange version and left-click to set the blue. And basically, when you go for the orange or blue, it takes you through to the other one. Now I've done it on the floor, so it's, yeah. You go through the blue one, it takes you to the orange. You go through the orange, it takes you through to the blue. And you can set these any way you like, and that's the portal gun. There is then an advanced version, but this one, so the basic version just requires Forge Energy. The advanced version requires Forge Energy and Portal Fluid. And then one item that I've got in my inventory here is the Creature Catcher. If I put down a chicken, I can right-click it with the Creature Capture, and as you can see, it pops up an item, and there's the Creature Capture in my inventory with the chicken, and I right-click just to put the chicken back down. Just Dire Things also adds lots of different tiers of tools and armors. So we're going to start off with the Ferrocore, and you can then make a template Blaze Gold, obviously using a blank template and some Blaze Gold, and you can basically upgrade it from Ferrocore to Blaze Gold to Celesta Gem to Eclipse Alloy, obviously being better and better. For example, the Ferrocore leggings give 5 armor, the Blaze Gold give 5 armor, but what you'll notice on here is that there are upgrades. So the Ferrocore you can't use as much. So you can see here that the available add-ons are Run Speed and Walk Speed. And then you can see that Blaze Gold adds the same, but also Lava Repair and Swim Speed. So basically, the further you go up, the more you could do. And to see what add-ons you could have available for gear, just hold Shift and it will show you the different add-ons. There's quite a lot of different add-ons that you can get, so let's just go through them really, really quickly. There's the Smoker one. This is a passive ability. So what you'll notice is that there's active and passive abilities. Active ones will use your keybind that you've set to actually activate an ability, and it may have a cooldown. And then passive ones are, well, passive. So the Smoker upgrade automatically smokes items dropped by kills. The Instant Break allows the tool to instantly mine blocks. Ore Scanner highlights nearby ores with green particles when activated. So when you activate that using the keybind, whatever it is in your keybinds options, then you can activate that and see it nearby ores. Now, some mod packs may think it's overpowered and disable it, like in the mod pack I'm playing in. Or X-ray. There's also Mob X-ray. There's Cauterized Wound, provides minor healing when activated, but can only be activated if the player has recently taken damage or is taking damage. Drops Teleport is an interesting one. It automatically teleports them into an inventory bound to the tool. Shift right clicking the tool on inventory binds it. Note when on a Just Dire tool's hoe, items dropped by the auto harvest ability of the whatever are teleported to the bound inventory. Also right clicking farmland will rebind them if the bound inventory of the tool has been changed. So basically teleports items to wherever you bound it by shift clicking that tool on that inventory. There's a smelter upgrade, kind of pretty obvious what that one does. Ore miner, mob scanner, there's a leaf breaker, lawnmower, there's tree feller for axes, etc. And then you have the armor upgrades over here, like run speed, jump boost, swim speed, step assist, walk speed, mind fog, which reduces the detection range of hostile mobs. Invulnerability, ground stomp, repels nearby mobs when activated and has a cooldown. Extinguishes the player if they're on fire and has a cooldown. That's the extinguish one. Earthquake, reducing fall damage. Decoy, spawns a decoy of the player that pulls aggro away from the player and has a cooldown. Phase allows the player to walk through blocks. There's a block tag to blacklist blocks from being able to be phased through. So there's loads and loads of different upgrades you can put on your gear here, and it all works through the smithing table. So if I get mine, what you can see here is I could put on these upgrades through the smithing table. Like for example, the mob scanner one, I would just put up in here, just like that. Take it out. And then what I can do is I can shift right click to actually change the settings. So I can right click the mob scanner in here because that's the one I've got enabled. And then you can see the options for it. So I could say, do I want to left click, right click, activate if equipped, etc. on the mob scanner. And you can do that for all upgrades. So again, you just shift right click and that will bring up the settings menu for all of the modules that you have installed on your gear. As well as gear, there's also some wands, and there's also a totem of death recall. So normal totems save you from dying. The totem of death recall actually teleports you to where you died and is a one-time use. Then we have the blaze jet wand. This gives you a little puff of air, so off you go. Then you've got the void shift wand, which is an upgraded version. As you can see, there's a ghost almost of me. This will literally teleport you, so I can right click and it teleports me here. The Eclipse Gate wand also does the same thing. This is the next one up. But I can actually also click on blocks to make them disappear temporarily so I can walk through, as you can see there. So I can just click on the blocks and they disappear, but I can also click and it will teleport me around as well. So those are the really cool wands that we have available to us. Apart from that, there is one other item. There's the machines settings copier. You could just, right click, etc. to copy machine settings onto another machine if you have multiple. And then there's also a, where is it? Oh, here it is. I don't know where it was. Pocket generator. This will actually be used as a pocket generator. You can actually have it in your inventory. And you could put coal in here. So you just right click to open it, making energy, and it will charge any items. Like, for example, you can see it's charging my Celesta Gem sword right now in your inventory. And those are all the miscellaneous items added in Just Dire Things.